Hi everyone, Ian Zepp here. Okay, so this is a quick informal demo of the dynamic REST focused on a specific use case. Now I am in Barcelona right now, so there is a bit of background noise if you've never been to Barcelona. It's a fairly loud and dense city, so forgive anything you might hear in the background. Anyways, so we've got a query here. A query is the root object of the dynamic REST package. We've got a query called contact as active. And the use case is pretty straightforward. It's essentially find me a contact or all contacts that are marked as active, whereas active is a new custom checkbox field that I've added in, and that have an email that's based on something that I'm passing in as a URL parameter. So if we look at our contact object, we give it a name, we choose the object type that it is. Now we have a root object, and then based on the fields you select, you can choose relationships or child related objects. It's very, very flexible. We give it a default limit and a formatter type. Now JSON would be used if you're returning the data to a browser context. Let's say you're doing a Flash page or you're doing something else like that where you just want to pull it right in as JSON and have the browser process it. XML is useful for server type integration, and then a CSV format would be very useful for pushing out data to partners so that they can just pull it right into Excel and do their own summaries or whatever it is they want to do. So let's have a look at the active field. So we've got what's called a constraint on the active field. Now this is a static value, which means that the constraint exists inside of the Salesforce system only and can never be changed by anybody on the outside. So in this case, we're looking for only those people that are marked as true for their active value, and it'll only return contacts where that is the case. Then we've got the email field. Now here we've got a different type of constraint. We're saying only find me those contacts where the email field is exactly equal to whatever we've passed in a URL parameter. So I'll leave that and go back. And then as an example, I've got a contact called Miss Rose Gonzalez over here. She has a checkbox here, which is the custom field that I've added that's not currently checked. And then finally, if I go over to this tab, I've got a public force.com site. Now this is open to the world, publicly accessible. So the idea behind dynamic query is that you as the administrator set up your constraints internally and then use the parameters that are being passed in to reduce the result set even further. We leave it up to you as the administrator to determine what sort of information you actually want to show. All right, so here I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search based on an empty email string, and I get no results back. This is an empty JSON set. Then let's say I specifically want to search for Rose. Let's say I'm doing some type of user login check on a public site someplace else, and it's part of an integration. I want to see if that person is active in my system. Well, no, I get no results back because as part of the query criteria, we said only return those people where active is equal to true. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's change that. Let's say we make her active. Oops, we actually have to change that. I must have missed the checkbox. There we go. So we're going to save Rose, and now we're going to hit refresh, and now we've got a JSON result. Okay, well the first thing I also notice is that I don't like the way that this looks. It looks ugly with the $_C. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this active field an alias. I'm going to call it isActive. Now when I change that, my compilation status goes to red because I've changed one of the filter criteria. So I'm going to go ahead, or change one of the fields. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recompile this. It's 2 clicks, takes 5 seconds. Now we're green again. Green is good, so let's hit refresh here. Now we have isActive. Well, congratulations, Rose is now active in the system. All right. Let's say I want to go ahead and push this out as XML data though, because instead of pushing it to the browser, I'm actually going to be sending this to, let's say, a PHP or a Python proxy, and they're going to do some additional processing. All they're really wanting to do is check and see whether this person is active. Okay, so I've changed the formatter. Compilation status is yellow, and just for consistency, I'll go ahead and recompile that. All right, so we're green again. Now, I immediately refresh the query, and what do I see? I see an XML payload that's telling me that this person is active, and here's their email address. Now, there's a lot more things that you can do with dynamic REST, but this just serves as a quick introduction. Thanks for watching.